because I want to kind of share with you guys a little bit of what's going on the next live long form video. Now, what we've done in the past is we've adapted my most popular video yet is the Norse Khopesh. And I really like this build. It's been something that's been in my head for a long time. So I wanted to kind of get into it and just discuss the design of the Khopesh. And then I wanted to discuss, well, what about the next one? Elliot! I kind of knew you'd show up, Elliot, right away too. So, and please, you got any questions or anything, let me know. But I'm getting used to the whole live thing, so bear with me. The Norse Khopesh, this guy, pretty similar to a lot of different, not historical Khopeshes. Yes. I actually have that drawing right here. We're going to be discussing that. Now, I've learned on my previous lives that people can't see the comments, or maybe they can, but I haven't seen that. So, if you've been watching any of my stuff, you've seen this guy. The idea is, I mean, I took the staff off, but you get the idea. What if the Norse had developed the Khopesh instead of the Egyptians? And I wanted to have a more rugged look, and I wanted it to be a little more, I don't want to say practical, but multi-use kind of practicality. Do you know what I mean? So this became one of my favorite projects. This is the non-legacy version, which means it's just one piece built together. In the legacy version, it's actually inserted I inserted high carbon steel to mild steel. Elliot, I won't be able to watch long because I got to go soon, but I can watch it again later. Yes, I'm going to save it to my page so you can watch it whenever you want. Good one. I like that one a lot. It turned out very well. Also, don't forget, we have the giveaway coming up for this guy. Love it. But the next build, yes, the Khopesh is the reason why I love Egyptian weaponry. Okay, so before I move on to that one, then let me just say, I love the Khopesh so much because its design is amazing. No worries, Elliot. I'll see you soon. Hey, I'm glad to help. So, the Khopesh originally was cast out of bronze, and that's because the material struggles when it gets longer. You know, a short blade, beautiful. It would work very, very well. But the longer that it gets, the more propensity you have for it to be damaged during use. So what they needed to do was they needed to concentrate the most amount of chopping power and weight and distribution of the damage lower and closer. And so they developed the Khopesh. They would cast it all out of one piece and then add maybe some wood or bone or maybe some leather to the handle. And then there you go. Practical weapon. However, I didn't want to do the casting because I didn't think that's what a Norse smith would do. So we forged it. But now for this one, when you think of a Norse guy, what is the most iconic blade? Well, it could be an Ulfbert. Some might say the Atgeir, you know. Some might say all kinds of things. But one of the most iconic Norse builds that I can think of is the sax. The sax was an incredible blade because it was used for was built for purpose. So it was great for seafaring. You know, you got to cut a rope. It was a nice, strong, heavy chopper. You need to fight with it. It's right there, hanging off your belt. You need to do just about anything. It is a very well designed blade. Hunting, bushcraft, all kinds of things. But I have learned that I love curved blades. That's one of the reasons why I came up with the Khopesh idea. So then I thought, okay, if we're going to do another build on the alternate history, if we're going to have another version of what if the Norse forged whatever, well, then why not do the kukri? The kukri is another one of my favorite blades from history because it has a dramatic shape. It has an incredible design for its use. It's got some awesome chopping power. And it just looks good. There's so many different iterations you could do with a kukri. But if we're following this alternate history idea, then what could a Norse guy do with the idea of a kukri? Now, there's probably a lot of different ideas on it. But here's basically the idea that I had in mind. Now, what we see, I designed kind of a similar handle to a sax. I look at the sax and there's not a whole lot of, busy work in the handle. There's not a lot of finger wells. There's not a lot of anything in the handles. So I thought this is a typical common swell that you'll see in a lot of different designs. Then, of course, because it's going to be a longer blade, I was thinking brass on the bottom for the pommel, a through tang pinned over, nice, thick, strong tang, probably a wood handle. I'd like to do something from the region, but bone would work really well, I thought leather wrap on both because it's replaceable. It gives you a little grip even when it's wet. If this were to be a blade that was out in the water, on a ship, or in the woods, or in the cold, I wanted to have something that you could use and hold. There were only a handful of steel weapons during the time of the pharaohs, and if I remember, I got to do some more research on that because a steel khopesh back in the day would be incredible. Actually, one of my favorite blades I've even made was a khopesh for a giveaway a long time ago. Maybe you guys have seen it. I have a few shots of it in my khopesh video. So props to you if you've seen that. So then for this guy, you can see it's got the basic look of a sax, but it's also got more of that curve. So the top I wanted to be very angular to kind of meet some of that angular design of the sax. Sorry. I had a few guys suggest that this part should be more angular as well. But I thought about it more and I didn't like that because, one, it just becomes like an angled blade. And I didn't want just an angled blade. I wanted a blend of the khopesh and a blend kukri. Sorry. I wanted a blend of the kukri and a blend of the sax together. Yes, it has that recurve. Because if it's sharp, then this actually becomes a bind point, as opposed to a nice gentle curve that leads better for slicing. So let's say you're slicing a rope. If there's a sharp angular part there, there's a chance that it will get hung up before it gets cut. And I wanted to make sure that this was purpose driven. Now we've got typical khopesh. I did it again. Typical kukris will have a nice deep belly and a really pronounced curve and a really fat part here. And that's a beautiful design. But I didn't think that it really fit the design that I was going for because this is a purpose-driven blade. While the Gurkhas would use it for weaponry and you could lop a dude's head off, unfortunately for them. But this one I wanted to be able to have a little more for a little bit of everything, If you're on a ship, if you're out in the woods, sometimes you only have one blade. So you want something that can do a little bit of everything. So I didn't want it to be too big. I didn't want it to be too grand and oversized, but I also wanted it to be a good overall look. So it keeps that aggressive point that you see in the sax, and it keeps that recurve and the bigger belly, and it has a more exaggerated outline of a sax. This is what I was thinking. See? Okay. I'm glad you like it because this is what I was going for. I also thought about ornamentation. There's some that are out there with a lot of ornamentation. Okay. I kind of want to do some carvings in here. Some sort of a design on the handle here. And these lines, I wasn't thinking of fuller as much because I wanted a powerful chopper. I was thinking, let's lighten it by giving it a distal taper, so nice thick spine for strength, and then without compromising the tip, have it a little thinner here, nice and flexible. I was thinking maybe spring steel. And then these could be forged in with a chisel because that just gives it such a good look. Forge it hot all the way down, a little bit of design here. It's not overly complicated, but it's a little bit. So, well, sketch, it needs a gentle curve that can be used as a draw knife. Ooh, I like that idea. What's with all the Williams in chat right now? Oh, yes. See? Okay. I'm so glad you said that. We got to do runes. Yes. Now, oh man, how did I miss that? Okay. Runes. What do you guys think about runes? You know, as for a draw knife, if it did have more of a curve, we could do that. That would be you could use it even almost like a shipwright, a ship construction a little bit. So, questions for you. What should the runes be? What kind of handle material do you suggest? Like I was saying, I was thinking a wood handle. Because I don't have any bone on stock. But if we wanted to include bone, or if we wanted to include antler, I could maybe do a little inset. That'd be kind of cool, you know? Maybe right here we'll do a little inset because I have a little antler from some deer. I was thinking that the guard, and really it's a bolster, honestly. Welcome back, Elliot. And the pommel could be brass, or what would be really cool is if I made my own Nordic gold. I'm probably gonna do that. But for the sake of this video, I'll just say brass, okay? And by the way, a note on the guard, Osage Orange would look great. Osage Orange would look very good. Are you the one who commented that in the other video? Because I like that quite a bit. A quick note on the guard. I had another guy say that he wanted more of a guard. And I do like the idea because there's more of a point for stabbing than a kukri, but I also wanted it to not lose the shape of a sax. So what do you think? Should we extend this just a little bit so we don't lose the sax look? Because it's got a lot more potential for stabbing. What did you miss, Elliot? Just talking about this, kind of showing you here. Got to add runes to it. Wood handle wrapped in a nice leather cord for grip would make a great looking handle. I actually agree. Either runes of power, might, strength, safety, or a mix of a couple of them. That's a good idea. Oh, every blade needs a name. We got to name this guy as well. So what do you think we should name it? I'll put that up here, and I'll share this afterwards. This is a lot of fun. This is what goes behind the design process, which to me is a whole lot of fun. That's half the fun. When I have a customer reach out, sometimes I design it completely. Sometimes they design it with me. Sometimes, you know, who knows? I absolutely love being able to do all of this and play it out. Okay, so you say yes to the guard. Let me say extend. Do you feel like that would lose the look? Baldur's Bane, that's right. Yes. Ooh, dude. I could carve a little mistletoe right in there. See? This is why we do it. Sorry, I got distracted. Okay. I like that. I like that quite a bit. Okay, I got it. The only problem is that I'm losing myself in all these ideas. All right, I got to see how can I carve. I just got a whole set of carving knives, so that'll be okay. Another question. In my opinion, I don't want to imply that the Norse are smiths or anything, but leaving some of the forge scale just along the edge, to me, is such a good look. But you look at a lot of different Norse blades, and plenty of them are polished. Who won the giveaway? Well, it depends. The person who won the giveaway, I don't want to out them. I don't want to dox them. Danielle Bartlett. She won that, Poke knife, that Rohirrim inspired blade. This giveaway is still going. So it's not done yet, but buckle up. It's coming. Monday, I announce it. Now here's another big question. Work on the names. I'm going to put Baldur's Bane because that one's good. Here's another question. As soon as I can't do two things at once. Here's my idea on the construction of it. If I own a knife and a sketch, I'd probably use it for trekking through the woods. Yes, that's the whole idea of this, is that it's a usable blade. One that you can take it into the woods. You can take it on a ship, which is another reason why I wanted to add some of that forge scale, because it helps with moisture resistant on that part. So here's my idea for the construction of it. This is a bunch of mild steel. I could forge this into, I got a bunch more right there. A bunch more, actually. And then I got another piece that's a whole extra size. I could forge this into the blade, but my idea is to combine two pieces of high carbon, chisel open a slot, inset it, and then forge it out into this kukri sax design. And the reason why I want to do that is because, pretty much any smith can make the outline of this sketch. And I really do like that. The challenge is how do you make it truly alternate history? What if a Norse picked it up? It's not just, let's make it and decorate it like a Norse. It's actually, how would they have done it? And they had a technique for combining the two different steels so that you could put much less high carbon, very high quality, very valuable steel, stretch that into the whole body. So instead of the entire body being it, you had most of it mild steel. That also helped with shock absorption, because the mild steel will kind of damper the effect of shock when you're using it. I could do this in maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours total, ready to quench. If I were to do it with this, it would take me much, much longer. So what do you think? Should we do a traditional Norse build, or should we just crank this bad boy out and forge it all out of one piece? I think that's what I need to know next. We got one. I'll go through the comments later and see some of the different ideas, because there were some good ideas out there. Yeah. Here's what we got so far. We don't know about the steel yet. We're shooting for a wood with a leather wrap handle. We're shooting for bronze, brass, or Nordic gold. I'll just write that down so I don't forget. Nordic gold. I can make my own. I just mix it myself. And then, yes, Nordic gold on each side. Through, nice strong tang, through tang, peened over on the end, forged in, runes. We'll have to decide on the runes. I have the Skyrim soundtrack going on in the background, but it's doing battle music right now. Echo, skip. See which one it is now. Perfect. Okay. Well, that would look cool, but in my opinion, a lot of this still looks sort of Damascus-y. Ooh. See, you bring up some good points. Damascus would be amazing. This would look very good. My only concern is that a fully Damascus build, pattern welded steel, would look very modern. And I don't want it to look like a modern blade. I want it to look like a high quality blade from the past. So here's what happens a lot of times with mild steel. Hello, Nicholas. With mild steel, when you etch it, not only will you get the difference between the mild steel and the cutting edge, which is a very traditional build, but also it's going to look really good because the mild steel etches differently than the high carbon steel. Especially, I could high polish the high carbon steel part and leave the mild steel not quite as polished, more of a satin finish, and so you'll get a little bit more of that contrast between the two. And then if we really wanted, we could then etch it in coffee, which will make the carbon edge really pop. So there's a lot of options. Do this. I want to post this. Leave your suggestions in the comments so that I can refer to them later and other people can vote on it. That's my idea. Hopefully this will be done on Monday. Hopefully. I got 2 little ones that are running around, always keeping me busy. And I got to run the giveaway. I got to do a bunch. I got a bunch of orders for that Nordic Kopesh. I got 5 Kopeshes on order. So I got to keep up on those. But hopefully we can get the forge running. Nail it all down. 200 years ago, Kami, Nepali blacksmith used whatever quality steel they could get their hands on. Exact. You know what? That's a good point. I'm combining the two. You know what I mean? So it's not just through a Norse lens. It's also incorporating... Okay, those Kami, they knew what they were doing. I got to do some research on how the kukri was originally done then. So thank you for that comment. That was a very good one. Okay, I'm going to end it here. 22 minutes almost of me blathering on. Comment your suggestions on the steel, the construction, the name, the runes, and the handle. Leave it down below. And then stay tuned. I'm going to forge it out. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Hopefully this wasn't boring. I'm still learning how to do live videos. I'm not good on camera. I'm learning. I also am not entirely sure how to end the live because I've only done like 2 others before. There you go. Found it. Bye.